Typical Thursday morning, just trying to get some work done. Man, it's been a really long time since I've done anything on YouTube, on the YouTubes. Life has been busy. There's been a lot of stuff going on through our ministry, through Crossroads, through me personally. I've just been dealing with a lot of stuff. And of course, some of the last times that I did a post, I talked about being diabetic. And well, there's been some changes there. You know, just things like I've lost close to 40 pounds. So that's a good thing. It's not really fun, but it's good. And in losing close to 40 pounds, my clothes don't fit right, which again is kind of cool because I feel like I've accomplished something, because in my line of work, a lot of times you don't feel like you accomplished anything. Things have been real busy, which is wonderful. I can remember I had a meeting with a youth pastor several months ago, and he was talking to me about how busy he was. And I was like, you know, I'm not really that busy. I'm doing a lot of stuff, but it's not just out of control busy. But then all of a sudden it became kind of that way. I'm chaplain of Chilton County High School football. The head coach is the athletic director, and he and I have become very close. And in doing what I do with the football team, he says, we want you to start reaching out to the other athletes. So on Monday mornings, I get to go to the high school and speak to an athletic period, is what they call it. It's what we would have called PE when I was in school. But it's the baseball team, basketball team, soccer team, golf team, track team. Maybe that's it. But I speak to those guys on Monday afternoon. And so Monday morning staff meeting, Monday afternoon I speak to those guys. Tuesday is just a blown day. So on Monday I try to get everything done for Wednesday, because Tuesday's going to be crazy. Tuesday it starts out. I come to church, come to my office for a little bit, and then I go, it's not for me. Then I go to speak to part of the football team. I come back and I have a lunch meeting, which lasts for about an hour and a half, and that's with youth pastors. I absolutely love meeting with youth pastors, my people. But then as soon as that meeting's over, I go back and I speak to the girls, softball team, basketball team, track team, soccer team, cheerleaders. So I speak to those ladies on Tuesday. And then Wednesday morning, I start off speaking to the rest of the football team. So 4 times during a week, I'm at the school speaking to kids. And in doing that, I try to come back and make sure our website's up, make sure all that stuff's going on. So it's just Bible study for Wednesday nights ready. And then everything else that's going on in church is just busy. And this is not a complaint. I love being busy. It makes your days go faster. But at the same time, I find a hard time just focusing on one certain thing. One thing I have been focusing on a good bit here lately is brought to my attention every time someone comes up and goes, hey, what's that on your head? As you can see, I've got this new little unicorn thing coming out on my head. I don't know what it is. I've done some reading on the internet, because that's where you get all your medical advice. And from what I can tell, it is a fatty deposit, which that makes sense because there's a lot of fatty deposits all over me. But that's really annoying. So I've got this medicine stuff I've been putting on it, because again, you know, the Dr. Internet has told me if you use this stuff, it'll get rid of it in a month. So we're trying it, see what happens, because I just don't have the money to go get it cut out. Maybe they could pay for it. I don't know. We got insurance. So that's been busy. I had a meeting back last year and was talking with a good friend of mine that's an evangelist, and he hosts all these conferences all over the Southeast, and he speaks all over the world. And in talking with him, I hope he didn't think I was leaning on him to get me to be one of his speakers, because that's not at all what my intent is. I mean, it would be cool, but I'm 48. I'm a youth guy that's 48. I'm not going to be in front of thousands anymore. But the thing I was talking to him about, I just said, I just feel like the messages that God's given me need to be more than just for our students. And I said, we put a video out, and I don't know if anyone even watches the video. And he says, I think you ought to podcast. And I said, well, let me think about that. So I started thinking about it, and I think about podcasts that I listen to. And again, I always think, why would anyone be interested in what I'm doing? But the thing is I have no idea who would gain from this. So now Thursday mornings is you get the video cut from what you did the night before, and then you bring in the microphone and you do a little podcasting. So that's been kind of cool. It makes me feel kind of cool, and that's really not the point of me feeling cool, but it's neat. I enjoy it. So it's just Thursday's busy, and now my son is on the middle school football team. No, football, soccer. He's on the soccer team for the middle school, and so he's got practice several times a week, and he's got a match tonight. So excited about that. But there's some other things coming up here with Crossroads. So I've got this student that came to me, and she's into social media like all teenagers are, but she's got a pretty big following on Instagram. And she talked to me last week. I just made the mention, hey, if anybody wants to help us run our media, we could really use some help back here running our media for. Oh, by the way, did you see that wall? My son and I built that wall. Where did all that wood come from, you say? Well, I don't know. Maybe it was left over from all of this. What a wall. I don't know if you think it's cool. But I personally think it rocks. So anyway, back to this girl. This girl's big into social media. She's got a good bit of followers on Instagram, and she said, I want to use my platform to talk about what we talk about here at Crossroads. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. She said, is it okay if I call it like Crossroads something or us? Yes. And so she's excited about that. And I said, I got an idea. I said, what if you did interviews with Crossroads students? I said, like you're both sitting there and you're just talking about what God's doing in your lives and what you're getting through our ministry and all that, just, to let people know that there's something here for them. And so she's excited about that. And then she says, I got to talk to my mom and get my phone back. So it's one of those things where she's a typical teenage girl and has said something or done something that her mom didn't like, so she's got to get her phone back. But I'm talking to her about getting a little camera. So that's going on. We've got beach retreat coming up, so that's going on. The kids are still in school, so we're getting all our senior stuff in place as well. And spring break's coming up. We're not doing a spring break trip with our students. My wife and son and my mother-in-law and father-in-law are taking a trip, so we're very excited about that. It was my 20th anniversary with my wife back in December, and we couldn't afford, nor did we have time to do anything, so we're going off for spring break, and I said we need to do a family trip, so we're taking the whole family with us. Very excited about that. Got a Brooklyn trip this summer after the beach retreat, Vacation Bible School, of course. It's just busy. Life is busy, and it is awesome. But there are times that, as busy as life is, you get stopped in your tracks. I got a message Monday night from a lady here in our church. She was part of the committee that brought me to West End, and her sons were in my youth group. One I was in 7th grade, one I was in 8th grade. And the one that was in 8th grade has diabetes, juvenile diabetic. So as soon as I became diagnosed with diabetes, he was one of the people that I contacted. And we talked about a lot of stuff. And he's not by any means the poster child for a healthy person with diabetes, but he understands what I'm dealing with. So, and mine's not nearly as severe as his. But she sends me a message Monday and says, hey, he's in the hospital in CICU, which is cardiac intensive care unit, and he is going to have a heart cath Tuesday morning. So I knew that if he was having a heart cath, this is not an exploratory thing, there's something wrong. And then she sends me a message Tuesday morning after he had his heart cath and said he'll have open heart surgery tomorrow. And this kid's 36 years old. Now, saying this kid, understand that I know fully he's an adult. He has 2 children. So he's a grown man, but he's one of my students, so he's always going to be one of my kids. And when I got that news, I was sick, just emotionally sick. And I just kind of walked around in a daze, because this is not a, hey, I'm having my appendix out, which he did last year. It's not, hey, I've got, a knee surgery, a knee replacement, hip replacement. This is someone's going to be holding your heart in their hands. And I was horrified because I love this kid with all my heart. He is, to me, he's one of the dearest friends that I know. And I don't say that lightly. I don't consider myself to have too many friends, but he's one that I would consider to be a friend. And so yesterday, in the midst of all the chaos of what our lives are, I contacted the football coach, athletic director at Chilton County High, and said, hey, I won't be able to be there to speak today. A former student's having open heart surgery. And I got up there, and, I have to be me. I try to bring levity into serious moments, understanding that it's very serious, but I don't want you to just be freaked out and stressed out. So I go into his room, and his whole family's in there. And I walk in, and I pull out a knife and just open it up and go, all right, where do we start? And he just, right here, big boy. And he pulled up in his gown or whatever, and we laughed for a second. And I cut up with him for a while and talked with him for a while. And he was a typical kid that he was when he was in high school. He was talking a big game, talking, trash about people, just being who he is. But then when it came time for him to wheel him back, I saw his countenance change, and I saw the gravity of what's going on actually hit him. And I saw the fear that was in his eyes. And he and his brother, they hugged and they cried. And he and his mother hugged and they cried. And he and his girlfriend hugged and they cried. And he and his father hugged and they cried. And he and his other brother, his half-brother, step-brother, whatever, were very emotional as well. And I was standing on the outside, and he just looked over and he said, get in here, big boy. And I went in there, and I thought, all right, I got to cut up one more time. And I couldn't, because it was that real, that here's a kid that might not come out of this. And I hugged him, and I kissed him. He's bald, so I got him a big sloppy kiss right there. And I thought, I've got to say something to give him a smile. And I couldn't think of anything. So as they start to wheel him out, I said, hey, buddy, have fun in there. That's all I could think of. He broke down laughing. The nurses laughed. Everyone in the room started laughing. And I just kind of grinned, but I couldn't laugh because my heart was hurting so bad for him. I'm sorry I'm getting emotional, but this is tough. Here's the tough thing, though. He's fine. He came through the surgery, 3 bypasses. He's in recovery. I just got a message from his mother and said he's awake. He'll be in a chair by 2 o'clock today. He's looking forward to having the catheter removed so he could stand up and go to the restroom by himself. He made the comment, he said, I never knew how awesome that was until I couldn't do it. So he's good. He's good. And it was just a wake-up call for me, and I hope for the whole family and everyone that we've talked to. You just never know in an instant. Monday afternoon, as he was standing in his father's guitar shop, he didn't get up Monday morning going, well, I think today's the day I'm going to have a heart attack. But at 36 years old, standing in his father's guitar shop, he has a heart attack. And the realness of that, the weight of that has just really been on top of me. Because 48, by no means the picture of health. I'm working on it, though. I'm working hard on it. I've got a family. I got a son that needs his daddy. Got a wife that needs her husband. Got family that need me to be around. Got students that need me to be around. They can survive without me, fine. But I know that God's given me the ability to communicate who He is to people. And I need to be around for that because I can't do that if I'm dead. So health has become a big part of who I am, which is really odd because that's something I never thought I'd be a part of. But I realized that the life God's given me was given to me for a reason. It's not to just exist, that there's got to be more to my life. And so that's kind of where my focus is. I hope to start doing some YouTube things again. I don't know that anyone ever even watches this. I don't think I've ever had a comment left. I've never had anybody call me and say anything about it. But if anyone watches this, cherish the time that you have. Love people. Invest in someone's life. Find the joy of being part of someone's salvation story. Take the steps. Just take the steps.